Okay, Mim is now the host.
Fine, thank you, Mim. I'll just wait. Oh, I'm just going to wait a minute or two. Just wait for Pip to be there. Okay. If everybody then could mute themselves, thank you. Right. Good evening, councillors, and welcome to another virtual planning committee on 4th of August 2020. There are no members of the public present, and I don't think we've got any questions, but we'll move straight into the agenda. Apologies for absence, Heather?
Yes, we have two. We have Councillor Paul Decourt and Councillor John Drake, both of which are away on family holidays.
Thank you. And in fact, councillors, you may have seen the email, Councillor Drake is away celebrating his 60th birthday today, so we might like to wish him happy birthday.
Birthday.
Item 2, do we have any declarations of interest?
Nope.
Do we need to vote to accept their apologies?
I suppose we, yes, we don't, we're not
do,
usually that
really,
formal,
yes,
we could,
yeah.
okay.
Unanimous.
Any declarations of interest? No. Could we then move on to the minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of July? Are you content that I sign these minutes as a true record of that meeting? All those who were there? Thank you. They can join the extremely large pile.
Yes, so you can sign those a future meeting in person.
Oh, crikey, we'll be at it forever. Right, just okay. Then, if we can move on to item 4, have we received any public questions?
No, none have been received.
Thank you. And item 5, letters of objection. Have we received any letters of objection?
No, no letters of objection.
No letters of objection even. Well, in that case, we'll move on to the main item on the agenda, which is item 6, and that's applications registered the week ending the 10th of July 2020, applications registered week ending the 17th of July, and applications registered the week ending the 24th of July. And we'll just go, since there are no members of the public present, we'll just go straight through these in order. And the first item is 5/2020 1397. And just before I ask Heather to introduce it, I'll just mention that there is a letter of objection on the district planning portal from number 10 Hollywalk, basically expressing the same reasons to object as they did last time, which is loss of amenity and light.
Okay, so this application essentially really is that the changes from the previously refused scheme are that the single-storey rear extension has been brought in by 1 metre from the boundary of number 10 Hollywalk for half the length of the extension, and the roof has changed from a pitched to a flat roof design with a pyramid skylight. I think the intention with this is that they're trying to address the previous concerns of the residents at number 10 Hollywalk, and also to address the reasons for refusal detailed by St Albans. Other aspects remain the same. There's still two parking spaces provided, and there are no loss of trees or landscaping. I've said consider no objection as the changes appear to address the previous reasons for refusal, bearing in mind that actually the previous application, the Town Council had no issues with that either.
Okay, can I ask if councillors wish to make any comments? Yep, Nigel. You need to unmute.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
You are.
Right, okay.
Thank you very much. My reaction is I actually looked at the plans and I still think it's something we should object to, because looking at the extension into the back garden, it's not just what I would call one room, it's almost 2 rooms deep. And my reaction is it gives a problem with the 45-degree test in relation to number 10. And I think number 10 is a very valid reason as to why it should be objected to. If you look at the plans as to how far the building physically goes into the back garden, and
Yes.
look at that in relation to number 10 next door.
Looking at the drawings, the 45-degree angle is taken into consideration for the 2-story element. It's not for the ground floor element. So the 45-degree angle has actually is not compromised on this. It is quite large, as you quite rightly say, Councillor Turnbull, in terms of the single-story rear extension, but the 45-degree angle relates to a first floor story.
Okay, I still think it goes too far. I think it's far too deep in relation to, if the 2 properties together agreed to both extend to that length, I'd be happy, but not just one of them. I think it detracts from the amenity of number 10 significantly.
Councillor Cousin, did you wish to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, well, just to say that I wasn't sure whether, because they've obviously brought it in from the boundary a metre, but only part of the way. So I haven't got the plans in front of me. So just a question really, is that only, part of the solution then? Why isn't it a metre in all the way down?
Looking at the drawings, I can actually scale it. Let me just get my ruler. The section that is still along the boundary line actually is. Let me just do the scale of it. It's only 2. It's just shy of 3 metres, which is normally accepted as being okay along a boundary line at single-story level.
And then beyond, so we've got effectively 10 feet along the boundary line. Then you've got a further extension, a metre in, another how far? About the same again.
Another, yes, again, same again, 3 metres.
And I just think that's too much. That's my reaction.
Does anybody else want to speak? No, so we seem to be in slightly differing views here. I mean, I think we can either go and say refuse that on the basis that previous objections have not been previous reasons for refusal have not been fully met, or we can express concern that previous reasons for refusal may not have been fully met. Which do councillors feel?
Those to express.
Don't all shout at once.
Chair, as far as I'm concerned, I would turn it down, but I leave you perhaps to take a more middle view. I just, having looked at it in detail twice online, I just think it's a step too far, I'm afraid.
Matt? Councillor Cowley?
Sorry, just to slightly muddy the waters, I'd be more inclined towards express concern than refuse. I think it's possibly an overdevelopment, but I think given that we didn't have a particular objection to the proposal last time it came, I think I would be reticent to go straight to refusal.
Okay.
Yes, I would on that basis.
I'd accept that. I'd accept that, Chair. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want me to go along the lines of then express concern because we do not feel that the previous reasons for refusal have been fully met?
Well, I say express concern that previous reasons for refusal may not have been fully met. Would councillors happy to go with that?
Yeah.
I was going to say, do we want? Yeah, I was about to say, do we want to say in relation to the amenity of the neighbour, because there could, I don't know if there were other reasons.
the main reasons actually did relate to the neighbour.
Yes, those were
Yeah.
actually the reasons.
Yeah, the main reasons, they do very clearly sort of.
They were very
Yeah.
clearly related to that.
Yeah.
Pip, do you? Pip, oh, thank you.
That's unanimous.
Yes, unanimous, thank you. Moving on to 5, 2020-1263. The application doesn't meet the criteria for consideration by the committee. Having said that, just remind councillors that sometimes one does spot an application that, although it doesn't normally require consideration, if you see anything that you do feel should be discussed, do feel free to signal that. Moving on then to 5, 2020-1272, likewise does not meet the criteria for consideration by the committee. And similarly for 5, 2020-1278 and 5, 2020-1345. Then we move on to 5, 2020-1384, which is the land behind the Red Cow.
Okay, so I think I have actually got some photographs that that I think Min will be able to put on the screen to share with you in relation to this. So, okay, so the this is, as the chair has just said, is for land rear of the Red Cow in Westfield Road. So it's actually on the site of the existing car park for the pub. So my observations were that the main changes to the refused application relate to a reduction in height and the roof form of the dwelling nearest the public house building. The positioning on the plot, amenity space and parking all remain unchanged. There continues to be a loss of parking provision to the public house, which may pose issues to the surrounding area, and with no changes to the orientation of the proposed dwellings, possible impact on the occupiers of Bulk Close and the Grade 2 listed Red Cow public house. And then I've said, consider express concern over the possible loss of amenity to the neighbouring properties and over the loss of parking provision on the site for patrons of the public house, which pretty much follows in line with what we said last time.
Okay, councillors, any comments? I mean, it seems to me that the main comment is they haven't actually addressed the previous reasons for refusal.
May I ask, Chair, did the District Council Planning Committee turn it down? Obviously, they turned it down as well, but what reasons did they use to turn
Nigel.
it down? Sorry? Am I muted or am I unmuted?
Yes.
I should be unmuted, am I?
You are, yes, we can.
Yes, you are.
Yes. Can I just ask for edification? The District Council, when it was turned down by the Planning Department there, on what ground was it turned down? The same as ours or something different?
If you, I assume that you don't have a copy of the agenda in front of you, but I can.
Yeah, I do actually, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so the reasons for refusal are just detailed on the agenda there.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so in a sense really follows pretty much in line with the reasons why we objected or recommended refusal last time. And I have also followed that up again this time, really in relation to the effect on the Grade 2 listed building, the detrimental impact on the surrounding area, and also that there doesn't appear to be any sort of evidence of mitigation for the loss of the parking, car parking on the site. On the District Council website, there are a number of objections from local residents of the area saying that there is already an issue with parking in the area whilst there is a car park there, let alone with the loss of the parking provision if this application is granted.
And I know what it, I mean, I don't frequent the pub, but I know the location well, and my reaction with that pub without parking is a major hazard. Narrow road, little roundabouts, nowhere to park at all. I think the point 2 of the District Council's objection about inadequate parking, etc., loss of car park, I mean, my reaction is that's the primary reason why I would not be in favour of approving this.
Councillor Cousin.
Just to echo what Councillor Turnbull said, the parking, yeah, exactly. You've got the Luton Road. It's a nightmare already. And it does feel a little bit, I mean, the building does feel a little bit close and overdevelopment anyway to the neighbouring
Yes.
properties. But I'm dealing with, it's my ward district, and I'm dealing with some parking issues right in that area already. So I would echo. I must admit, I didn't realise it did have a car park. If I were going to go there, I wouldn't have thought about parking in the car park because I didn't know there was one. But parking is a big problem in that area.
Yeah. I mean, basically, as far as I can see, they've not addressed the previous reasons for refusal. So I think we just go on the basis of saying that recommend refusal on the basis that the previous reasons for refusal have not been addressed.
Yeah.
Anybody, Councillor Cowley? Oh,
Sorry,
sorry, were you
I-
voting, Councillor Cowley, or did you make a comment?
I was voting early.
Oh,
Sorry.
right, okay. Are we all agreed then that we go with?
Unanimous.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
All right, then we move on to 5/2020 1267. No, we don't. I've missed one
Okay.
out. We go to
Okay.
5/2020 1404.
Okay, so we've also got a photograph of this as well, that if Mim's able to share that with you. So this is for number 9, Ridge Gardens. So the element of note on this application is the addition of a full width dormer window, but there is at least a 40-metre gap between the site and the property to the rear. Believe that there's no overlooking will be caused from the proposal. The footprint is not changing, just that the openings are changing to facilitate the change in the room uses. 6 bedrooms are proposed, but there are 3 off-street car parking spaces quite clearly provided, and there's no loss of trees or landscaping, so I have said consider no objection. So you can see just here on the screen just there, so essentially it's going to be going over, well, it's looking out directly from the rear section of the roof, and it's slightly obscured, I must admit, by the little banner there. The closest property is quite some distance away, and the other ones in the road are not affected at all.
Yes. In fact, notwithstanding that, the residents at number 10 have a letter logged on the district planning portal expressing concern about overlooking into a ground floor bedroom, and when it says on it that apparently they've come to an agreement with number 9 that there will be obscured glass in that window. So, but I think it's too far away to overlook anyway.
I did sort of, I think, I'm not sure if there was just the one picture, but I did have a good look around the rest of Ridgewood Gardens, and it is quite sort of kind of a standalone house. It's not, there is quite a good distance between them and the other ones in that sort of cul-de-sac.
Yes, and as I say, there is a letter apparently saying that they've come to an accommodation between them anyway. So are we happy to go with no objection?
Unanimous.
Thank you. Right, we can now move on to 5/2020 1267 at 11 Hawthorne Close.
Okay, there's also pictures of this one also, for number 11 Hawthorne Close. So just bear with me a second. Oh dear. Right, hang on a moment. Can't. Could you just stop doing the view just for a second, Mim?
Sure.
Sorry, just that I need to be able to access my agenda. There we go. Thank you.
All
Sorry.
Want me to go back to it?
Yes, if you could, that's grand. Thank you. Okay, so this one is for 11 Hawthorne Close. So the footprint length is not increasing, although the overall footprint is increasing to fill the plot. That might sound a bit sort of gobbledygook, but if you sort of look at the images there, you can see, I think that is there one from above for Hawthorne, 11 Hawthorne Close? No, there isn't. Okay.
No,
So
that's Miley Close.
you
That's
can
not
see
the
from here that there is, yes, essentially they are actually building over the garage and then filling in an element of the footprint just behind. Okay, so so it's increasing to fill the plot and takes in part of the existing detached garage space, although that is now incorporated as part of the house. The roof height is not increasing. Number 13 Hawthorne Close is extended and sits further back on the plot, so that is the property to the right hand side, and that reduces the positive impact on them. The stipping in the extension from the boundary with number 9 Hawthorne Close, which is to the left, which also has a detached garage between them. The garage and 2 parking spaces provided for 3 bedrooms proposed, no loss of trees or landscaping, and it appears to be in keeping with the surrounding area. Consider no objection.
Okay, does, councillors, does anybody have a comment? No, we're all happy to go with no objection.
Unanimous?
Thank you. Okay, moving on. 5/2020-1283 does not meet criteria for consideration by the committee. Similarly, for application for 1371, 1293, 1319, 1476. Then we go on to 5/2020-1478 at 34 West Way.
Okay, so this application is essentially just some minor changes to an already approved scheme that was approved earlier this year. So the change to the already approved scheme is the extension rearwards of the 2-storey extension over the ground floor extension element, although looking to extend it by a further 1.8 metres in the approved scheme to enlarge bedroom 4. The 45-degree visibility zone has been taken into account with number 32, and no other changes are proposed. So I have said consider no objection.
Yeah, it looked right to me. Does any councillors wish to comment? No, we're happy to go with no objection then.
Unanimous?
Thank you. That's unanimous.
Okay.
All right, 5/2020-1459 at 6 Miley Close.
Okay, this one we also do have an image of. So this is the site of this is actually one of the relatively new properties just off of Tufnells Way, sort of the Derwent Road Way. So the site is positioned on the corner of a cul-de-sac which borders the open farmland, modest additions to the scale of the existing property and available plot space. Additions are mostly at ground floor level. There's no effect on the neighbouring properties, ample parking, and consider no objection.
Looks okay to me. Any comments, councillors, or happy to go straight
No.
to the vote? Yes, Councillor Turnbull.
No, I'm straight to the vote.
Oh, straight to the vote. Oh, okay. Okay, we're all happy to vote. No objection.
Unanimous?
Thank you. And then moving on to 5/2020-1481 Park Rise.
Okay, this one we also do have a photograph of. So the layout of the properties is that it's on a slight curve in the road. This particular plot is set further back than number 71 Park Rise with an angular site footprint. The front extensions cause no impact on the neighbours as they're set back from the building line. The garage is to be converted, but there are 2 off-street parking spaces provided. No change to the bedroom numbers, just their size. Number 67 Park Rise has a single-storey rear extension which reduces the impact on them from this proposal. The first floor element is stepped in on the footprint to reduce the impact on the neighbouring properties. 45-degree visibility zone has been taken into account. So I therefore believe that there's no impact on the neighbouring properties, and I say consider no objection subject to no loss of amenity to the neighbouring properties.
Any comments, councillors? No. Oh, yes, Councillor Cousin.
Thank you, Chair. I was just wondering, I can see that the ground floor, the neighbour has that substantial extension, so presumably that's why there's less impact. But is this application is for a first floor extension as well, isn't it? So does that mean that that first floor extension will kind of, if you like, stick out and affect the neighbour at the bedroom level?
Okay, just looking at the drawings here, the second or the first floor extension element is actually slightly more in the middle of the house as opposed to actually at the edge of the property. Yeah, it's been stepped in. Let me just see if I can actually, no, I can't scale it, unfortunately.
That's fine.
But yeah, it is much more kind of centralised. Let me just see, I probably can't actually show you.
It's okay if you've looked
Yeah,
at it.
it is. The shape of the plot, it's really strange because it's you can't see it very clearly from the images there, but it is on a slight crescent shape. So actually, this particular kind of property sits much further back already on the plot anyway. And then the neighbour sort of they're slightly disjointed the way that they're positioned on the plot there. So the neighbour to the right, their property is slightly curved round to the right. So they are actually looking out of their property well beyond the house to the left.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, could we, are we happy to all vote no objection?
Unanimous?
Thank you. And then going on to 5/2020 1400 at 12 Aldwick Road.
Okay, this one we also have some images for. Okay, so this is the addition of a single-storey storeroom to both sides of the property on the boundary line. Small footprint additions to the front of the property, no increase in bedrooms, just their size. And the materials are matching the existing, which is a timber stroke render mix. There is the addition of solar panels to the rear. The front extension will be further forward of the building line with number 10 Aldwick Road by 2.5 metres at the first floor level and 1.5 metres at ground floor level than currently, although I don't believe this will adversely affect number 10 Aldwick Road. Consider no objection subject to no loss of immunity to the neighbouring properties.
Any comments, councillors? No, in that case, are we all happy to vote for no objection? Thank you.
Yes.
5/2020 1516, which is land adjacent to 6 High Elms.
Okay, we have got some images for this, if Min wants to put those up, but this is kind of in a sense a slight sort of regular visitor on our planning agendas, number 6 High Elms. We've looked at this on quite a number of occasions. So this particular application is that the proposal mirrors that of the refused application in terms of the size and the design, but a tree report has now been submitted with this application detailing the root protection zones and the proposed trees for removal, 11 in total. However, there are no details of the replacement tree planting, and so I have said consider refusal. So whilst the committee have no objection in principle to a new dwelling on the site, there are no details of tree planting to replace those removed, which is contrary to policy ESD 14 of the Harpenden Neighbourhood Plan.
I would just mention there is one letter of objection on the planning portal. I've not written down which number it's from there, which is basically saying that they feel it's an overdevelopment in a conservation area. The gap between properties has an adverse effect on the street scene, although it's a large plot. And thirdly, concern that if permission is granted, further development will be sought. Well, of course, in the case of the third objection, planning can't take into account what may or may not happen in the future. We only look at what we've got in front of us. So any comments, councillors? I mean, my view is I'd be happy to go with your recommendation. I'm so because they've only partially met the previous reasons for refusal.
In relation to adhering to what we're asking for, yes. And on the basis of that, High Elms is an area where there is quite densely populated with trees. But I
Yes.
think with the loss of the trees on the site, we do need to ensure that we are having them put back in some guise.
Yes. So, councillors, are you happy to go with the recommendation as set out?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay.
5/2020-1452 does not meet criteria for consideration. 5/2020-1533 for 323 Luton Road.
Okay, so this one, there are no images for this one because of it's essentially all at the back of the property and I couldn't get any sort of suitable images. But there are no changes to the ground floor footprint or to the frontage. The changes mostly relate to the existing single-storey rear element and changes to the roof style, materials and door openings. It's sort of one of these very slim, long properties which has got a very sort of contrived roof form at the back of the property, and they're just in a sense making it a much more aesthetically pleasing and probably more usable space by making these changes.
Yeah, looked at any comments? No, can we then just go straight to the vote to agree no objection? Thank you. Moving on to 5/2020-1550 for a COVID-19 assessment unit up at the car park up at Spire.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, this is for a temporary porta cabin in an existing car parking bay at the hospital for the period of just 1 year for COVID-19 testing. Does remove the need for the patients to access the main hospital building, thus reducing possible contamination. The applicant does predict that there will be a reduction in patients visiting the hospital site during this period, therefore no impact on the parking from the loss of the parking bays. Hospital site is not in the conservation area and is well screened away from residential properties. So I'll say consider no objection.
Yeah, okay. Any comments, or are we happy just to go with the recommendation?
I think we're going to be a bit harsh if we refuse it.
Well, I think so. It's rather necessary to have a COVID-19 testing facility. Yes, so all
Unanimous.
thank you. 5/2020-1551 at 34 Barnfield Road.
Okay, there are some images to share with this one. Okay, so this is a slight reduction in the footprint to the rear, and they're creating more uniformity to the footprint. The neighbour already has a structure to the side, which reduces the impact from the proposed single-storey element. The two-storey element located to the centre of the property at the rear, so it reduces the possible impact actually on both sides. Creation of 2 off-street parking spaces where there are currently none. Others have actually done similar in the street. No loss of trees. Consider no objection.
Do we have any comments from any councillors? In that case, can we vote to agree on the recommendation of no objection? Thank you. 5/2020-1562, which is at 119 Overstone Road.
Okay, there are some images to share with this one. So I've observed that there's a fair increase in the footprint to the rear at the ground and first floor level, although the neighbouring properties appear to have extensions there themselves. There is a loss of the garage, but although it does detail up to 3 off-street parking spaces provided, increase of 1 bedroom, don't believe any significant impact on the neighbours, no loss of trees, consider no objection.
Councillor Cousin.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, just say it's quite a tricky road to park on, and it doesn't look as though it'd be that easy for 3 cars to get on and off that driveway. It looks a fairly small crossing. Having said that, they probably don't use the garage for parking anyway, so maybe in practical day-to-day use it doesn't make any difference, but it just didn't look that easy to get 3 cars on without having to shuffle them, you know, on and off all the time if one car closest to the house wants to get on out. But
Are you able to just share the image of the frontage again, please? Thank
Sure.
you. Yeah, so I think it's this property where you can just see sort of the green car in the front, and then there looks like a little black car around the side there. It doesn't actually detail how they're proposing to make the 3 off-street parking spaces available. There isn't like a block plan that shows that, unfortunately, but my assumption would be that they would remove that sort of shrub landscaping at the frontage to enable them to have much more clearance to get on and off the property.
Yes.
But it's detailed in the application form that there are going to be 3 off-street parking spaces provided. So the difficulty is that, yes, it says existing garage is outdated due to its narrow size and will not house standard modern vehicles. There are already 2 to 3 car parking spaces at the front of the house on site. These will remain exactly as existing. So if they state that they're going to provide it, then in a sense they need to honour that and provide the 3 parking spaces if they're stipulating that they're going to.
I don't know. I mean, I don't feel massively strongly. I would just really say, if you look at that, are they really properly getting 3 cars on and off there?
I think they will if they move the shrubs. Councillor Cowley.
Yeah.
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Can I suggest that, because I slightly share Paul's concerns, I don't think that I would object to it on the basis of the parking, but I just think there is possibly a concern with the parking. Can I suggest some wording in no objection subject to 3 parking spaces being provided, or something along those lines?
Yep. Yep. Okay. Yes, and then hopefully then we can make sure that it is taken up in any permission that's given, and it can become a part of that permission. Okay, councillors, are you all happy to go with no objection, subject to the provision of 3 parking spaces?
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Then we move on to 5/2020 1566 22 Highfield Avenue.
Right, okay, so I mean, Highfield Avenue, I think we have got some pictures of this, but it is a street that has had an awful lot of work done of a very similar sort of kind of scheme to what they're proposing. So my observations are that they're increasing the footprint by 4 metres rearwards, which is approximately 2 metres beyond the neighbour's building line. Increase of 1 bedroom and a study. First floor extension is to the side of the non-attached neighbour, therefore reducing the impact on number 20 Highfield Avenue. A full width dormer is proposed to the rear roof elevation, but with no increase in ridge height. Many other properties in the road have done similar. There is a loss of garage, although details provision of 3 off-street parking spaces. No tree work, consider no objection.
Yeah, are we happy to go with no objection? Okay, thank you. Right, that concludes the applications to go through. Item 7, councillors may wish to note the appeal decision. Some of you who've been on for a while may remember this application for a rather unlovely container on the down on Cold Harbour Lane, and would just like to note that they appealed the refusal, and that the refusal has been upheld by the planning inspector, and the appeal has been dismissed.
Which actually, in a sense, slightly leads us back to the discussion that we had about the Spire site. Really, that you know.
Well, yes, except the reason, I think one of the reasons we didn't like it, the Spire site, you can't actually
see it, and
see it is not near it. It doesn't affect any views.
And it's because of it's for 1 year only, whereas this
Yes.
is for as a permanency.
Yes, and was didn't exactly fit with the street view. Okay, moving on then to item 8, preservation of tree works, which really is just for noting, unless anybody's seen anything they want to comment on. And also item 9, conservation area tree works and technical applications. Just really for noting. And then moving on to the list of weekly decisions for St Albans District Council. I suppose the two things we would like to note there is that plans that both the Radcliffe development and Stakers Court were refused. I imagine they'll probably go to appeal, I don't know, but it's interesting that they were both refused at district.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Not quite sure where Stakers Court will stand with the new planning rules coming in, allowing four stories on a block of flats, but we'll meet that one when it comes.
The one
Okay,
thing,
and then
the one thing with
we just
Stakers Court is that it is in the conservation area, so you know things.
yeah, so it will still be different rules. I was going to say, I think yes, you've reminded me. I was going to say actually it's the conservation area, isn't it? So yes. And then item 11, the date of the next meeting is on Tuesday the 25th of August, and Plans North will be on Monday the 17th of August. So that concludes the meeting for tonight. So declaring the meeting closed at 20:12. Thank you very much, councillors. And we'll see you at the next virtual meeting.
Yes.
So thank you. Good night, all.
Okay. Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Night.
Good night, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And thanks, Mim and Heather.